Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the headquarters of the Royal Institute of British Architects. My name's David Gloucester and I'm Director of Education here at the RIBA. I'm very pleased to welcome you to the President's Medal ceremony. Before we start, just some housekeeping. In case of emergency, please note there is one exit on my left at the bottom of the hall and another one at the top of the room. And I would also be grateful if you could switch off your mobile phones for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Now, we're here tonight to celebrate the RIBA's Architectural Education Awards. Tonight's ceremony recognises talent at all stages of architectural education, from undergraduate to postgraduate, in academic and professional research, and it also rewards the achievements of a career devoted to architectural education. So tonight we'll show you this year's winners of the President's Medals in 3 different categories. The Dissertation Medal for the best written work submitted at either Part 1 or Part 2. The Bronze Medal for the best design project submitted for Part 1. And the Silver Medal for best design project submitted for Part 2. The winners of the SOM Foundation Fellowships and the Sargent Awards for Drawing. The winner of the RIBA Donaldson Medal, the winners of this year's President's Awards for Research, and the winner of the Annie Spink Award for Excellence in Architectural Education. Now, after this ceremony, you'll also be able to see an exhibition of student work displayed throughout the building. This exhibition is staying here in London for 2 months before it's transferred to venues throughout the UK and abroad. Over the last few years, the popularity of this exhibition has grown tremendously, with interest from venues wishing to host it not only in the UK, but also in Ireland, Romania, Singapore, Turkey, Australia, and the United Arab Emirates. For next year, we also have had interest from new venues in Bulgaria, China, and Serbia, and a few more very interesting destinations are pending confirmation. On behalf of the RIBA, I would like to thank the supporters of the President's Medals for their generosity. In particular, we would like to thank the Skidmore, Owings and Merrill Foundation that has supported and sponsored these awards by awarding 2 fellowships, and the Callprint team as our graphics partners. Callprint have supplied the exhibition panels displayed in our galleries and other printed materials you'll be able to see tonight. And a special thank you goes to our colleagues at the RIBA Journal, who have joined us once again as President's Medals media partners. Now let's continue. To say a few words about the RIBA and its role in supporting architectural education, please join me in welcoming to the stage the RIBA's Chief Executive, Harry Rich.
Thank you very much, David, and ladies and gentlemen, let me add my welcome to the RIBA to you as well. In all the work that we do, the RIBA champions better buildings and stronger communities and a better use of the world's resources, and we do that through our members and through architecture more generally. And therefore, the education of architects is absolutely clearly central to that work. And for me, therefore, it's very exciting that tonight we'll get the chance to celebrate the best work that students and researchers have produced over the past year. And we will honour all kinds of work, including design, extended writing, research projects located in both practices and universities. And we'll celebrate the role of creative teachers of architecture. Since we were established more than 175 years ago, the RIBA has been very proud of its intellectual base. And I think it's particularly important that in the past couple of years, we've managed to renew and strengthen our commitment to being a hub for architectural knowledge, innovation and cultural activity. And we particularly welcome debate and discussion that move the profession forward and demonstrate the economic, social and environmental benefits that architecture brings. Now, we're all too keenly aware of the economic pressures and rising tuition fees which challenge both our universities and our students. However, on the other hand, I think that when you see the range of creative work tonight, you'll agree that our young practitioners, students and architecture schools are producing impressive and stunning work despite all of those difficulties. Supporting the education and professional development of architects is core to everything that we do, because the practice of architecture needs constantly developing and relevant skills to keep a competitive commercial edge and to produce work that makes the world around us a much better place. And all of us here at the RIBA are so proud that in the President's Medals competition, we have a remarkable annual showcase for the talents of students and researchers from all over the world. In a few minutes, we'll get a chance to see something of their creative and provocative thinking, their energy and enthusiasm, and I wish you all a very enjoyable evening.
Thank you, Harry. I would now like to invite to the stage your host for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the President of the RIBA, Angela Brady.
Thank you, David. Ladies and gentlemen, as a champion of architectural education and of the role that architecture can have in our lives, I'm truly delighted to host tonight's ceremony as President of the RIBA. As some of you may know, as a practitioner for many years, I've welcomed secondary school students into our own studio. And I think that it's great that we can actually give them the opportunity to get a little bit of work experience and kind of have a taste of what architecture in practice is all about. And we also have a team of architects which go into schools. And I always encourage people to adopt a school. So any practitioners here, it's not that hard to adopt a school. Go in, you can do a workshop, or just tell them about what architecture means to you. And this evening, actually, I've just interviewed the 5 students on the back row that are from Forest School and from Clapton Girls' School. And we've got a little vox pop, you know, the voice that you do for YouTube, and it's really all about, so you want to be an architect. And it's really to entice them into architecture. And I'll tell you, some of the sound bites that we have are truly amazing, from 13 to 15-year-olds. So this evening, we're going to start by celebrating the President's Medals. These are the RIBA International Programme of Student Awards. And these are the oldest awards made by the RIBA, having been offered since 1836. So for over 176 years, these prestigious awards have grown immensely, with the number of entries increasing each year. This year, the RIBA invited more schools than ever before, so a total of 305 schools of architecture from 66 international countries. I'm delighted to announce that this year's President's Medals have broken their all-time records, as we received the highest number of entries ever in the history of the awards. Most importantly, we had the highest number of entries ever from international schools not yet validated by the RIBA, with work coming from schools in countries such as China, Denmark, Greece, Ireland, Poland, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Switzerland, Slovenia, the Netherlands, and the United States of America. Tonight, we will also award the RIBA Donaldson Medal. Established in 1866, this medal is awarded in the memory of Thomas Leverton Donaldson, and he won the Royal Gold Medal in 1851. And he was the RIBA President from 1863 to 1865. So it's been a long time here with us. We will follow this by awarding the President's Award for Research, which recognises excellence in the work of Masters and PhD students, academics and practitioners. And these awards help to champion high-quality architecture investigation and to promote dissemination and incorporation into our knowledge base of our profession. They raise the profile of architecture and architects engaged in research, and they highlight the need within our profession for strategic and innovative thinking. Tonight we will also present the RIBA Annie Spink Award, and this is for excellence in architectural education. This is the biennial award which recognises the work of a tutor in a School of Architecture with courses that are validated by the RIBA. And this is for the person who has made a significant contribution to architectural education. So as you can see, there are many reasons to celebrate the future of our profession. And I'm glad that we are here as part of an institute that has a platform and a place to contribute for such a celebration. And I'm very grateful to our sponsors and to everyone across the institute who has really put so much time and effort to deliver tonight's awards. So I hope you're going to enjoy tonight's awards. So please do enjoy the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. We now move to the announcement of this year's winners of the President's Medal Student Awards, and we'll start by awarding the Dissertation Medal. Now, after our call for entries was issued earlier in the year, asking each school to nominate one dissertation, we received 48 entries, the highest number in the history of the awards. And our tireless dissertation judges read all these volumes in less than 2 months, and then gathered here at the RIBA to discuss them and award the Dissertation Medal and commendations. This year, the dissertation judging panel was chaired by Dr. Alexandra Stara from Kingston University and included Dr. Nathaniel Coleman from the University of Newcastle, Professor Mark Cousins from the Architectural Association, and Dr. Samantha Martin McAuliffe from University College Dublin. To better understand some of the work that goes into judging dissertations, we've captured the judges' discussion on film. I would now like to invite to the stage Oliver Richards, RIBA Vice President Education, to award the commendations and medal in the dissertation category. And the first commendation in this category goes to the dissertation Here Isn't Now, Ballard, Silvertown and the Forces of Time. And the dissertation starts by looking at the desolate landscape of Silvertown in London's Docklands as the embodiment of the modern city, an island of broken bricks, fragmented pasts, of enthusiastic destruction in anticipation of a fictionally utopian construction. This study won over the judges with its refreshing approach to dissertation writing. Less research-based and more a sophisticated musing triggered by real and literary places, the judges considered it a beautifully written and poetic meditation on the modern urban fabric. The dissertation was submitted by the Architectural Association, and the winner of the commendation is Stephen Marshall. The second commendation in this category goes to the dissertation The Site as Muse, Georges Perec and Walking into Topophilia. The past few decades' renaissance in urban walking and psychogeographies has shown a movement towards the appreciation of subjective narratives of space and place, especially within the sphere of architecture, where they've been used as tools for analysis and design. This dissertation investigates various modes of exploring place and formulates and demonstrates a methodology for creating a lasting contact and immersion with place with the help of the writings of Georges Perec. The judges considered it a rigorous and engaging reading of Perec that pursues its goal with great clarity and consistency for such a fluid subject. The dissertation was written by Tom Sykes and submitted by the Welsh School of Architecture, Cardiff University. Unfortunately, Tom cannot join us tonight as he's working in Australia. His tutor, Stephen Kite, is accepting the commendation on his behalf. This year, the judging panel have agreed to award a high commendation to the dissertation Poetic Creation, the Magical Metaphor of Architectural Design. This dissertation is a theoretical and historical investigation into the deep yet overlooked analogy between architectural and alchemical practice, and aims to delineate the areas where the two disciplines can be considered to overlap. By initially defining alchemy as a dualistic practice that operates simultaneously in the physical and mythological planes, the analogy is made with architectural practice, split between theory and practice since the Renaissance. The judges considered this a greatly ambitious dissertation in its historical and intellectual scope, and were impressed by the breadth of the scholarship and how coherently it was composed into an original argument, as well as by the quality of writing and overall presentation. The dissertation, submitted by the University of Sheffield, was supervised by Dr. Stephen Walker, and the author and winner of the commendation is Curti Durrell. The dissertation that wins this year's medal is entitled Oriental Orientalism in Japan, the Case of Yokohama Chinatown. Excuse me. The judges considered this a highly accomplished piece on a phenomenon we are little familiar with in the West, the exoticizing of another Oriental country in the Orient, exemplified by Yokohama's Chinatown. Drawn from an impressive breadth of sources, some unexpected but all appropriate, the author meticulously composes a picture that brings a careful reading of history to bear upon a complex contemporary reality. Critically astute, beautifully written and illustrated, this piece never loses sight of the architectural dimension of its topic, offering a thoroughly convincing and sophisticated discussion of an unexpected and unexpectedly topical subject. The dissertation was supervised by Professor Murray Fraser at the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's dissertation medal is Matthew Leung.
Spent a good deal of today trying to think of something smart to say, but came to the conclusion that I'd probably use everything up for my dissertation. So I'd just like to say thank you to Ed Dennison and Yatmin Liu for their help, Amelia for her tireless and critical proofreading, and my family for their translation services, and last but not least, Murray for all his wisdom and enthusiasm, without which this would not be possible. So thanks very much.
For the design projects, the judging panels viewed thousands, quite literally, of images and hundreds of portfolios. This year, we introduced a new format to the shortlisting stages with more diverse panels that included last year's medal winners, as well as senior academics from UK schools of architecture. Over 2 days, Oliver Richards and I were joined by Basma Kaki and Kibwe Tavares, winners respectively of the 2011 RIBA President's Bronze and Silver Medals, Hannah Vowles from Birmingham City University, and Kate Heron from the University of Westminster. After this shortlisting stage, the main panel of judges gathered to agree who would win the medals and commendations. This panel was chaired by Oliver Richards and included Eva Castro, Anna Liu, and Chris Wilkinson. The four experts gathered at the RIBA for an intense debate, and this is what they thought about the judging process and the winning entries. We'll start with the bronze medal category that rewards design projects produced in the course of an RIBA Part 1 qualification. And the first commendation in the bronze category goes to a student from the University of Cambridge for the project Remember Berlin, Kunsthochschule Archipelago. Retracing Hermann Brock's steps in the 1936 trilogy The Sleepwalkers, the proposed art school project intends to reclaim Berlin's specific spatial and building typologies while redefining the southern perimeter of the Lustgarten and Unter den Linden, the primary route between East and West Berlin. The building creates and contains a garden, which links the park extending to Alexanderplatz, Schinkelsbau Akademie to the west, and Breitstrasse to the south. The non-hierarchic departmental archipelago within the Kunsthochschule articulates individual and collective identity and mirrors the cultural ensemble of museums and galleries to the north of the site. The project, which the judges considered to be a solid and well-resolved architectural proposition, was tutored by Ingrid Schroeder, and the author is Paddy Alice Benson. A second commendation was awarded to the project After Image, Projected Morphology, a cyclotel created from perspectives. The project is based around the recently demolished Gateshead Get Carter car park, whose 1960s brutalist architecture dominated the Gateshead skyline and arguably fractured the city centre. The task of the project was to explore the physical, emotional and psychological void left by its demolition, working to develop a new architecture that acted as an after-image or ghost of the old structure. The brief for a cyclotel, a hotel for cyclists, became the architectural and contextual vehicle to explore and embody architectural language developed through projection, transparency and layering. The judges considered it a playful yet rigorous scheme that questioned the fragmentary qualities of architecture and site. The project was supervised by Ekaterini Antonopoulou and Matthew Oscar Lawn at the University of Newcastle, and the author is Richard Breen. And now the bronze medal, awarded to the best design project at Part 1, submitted by a School of Architecture located in the UK or internationally. The winning project is titled The Depository of Forgotten Monuments. Addressing Moscow's paradox of deconstruction and reconstruction, the project suggests a flexible architectural framework that takes into account conflicted urban processes, structures, and programs. As both a curatorial strategy and an urban prototype, it defines a hybrid between cultural and commercial art sites and allows for the coexistence of past and future as part of the transient collection of architectural replicas, quotations, and mediations. The Depository of Forgotten Monuments expands the logic of the three-dimensional grid as an organisational scaffold that can support cyclical and incomplete processes of construction, collision, deconstruction, exchange, reconstruction, and so forth. Eventually, the depository will slowly expand to consume the city of Moscow in order to generate the process of renewal its inhabitants desire. The project was considered by the judges to reveal a fresh and sophisticated quality of thinking. It comes from the Architectural Association, and the author was tutored by Maria Fedorchenko and Tatiana von Preußen. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the bronze medal for Best Design Project submitted at Part 1 worldwide is Vidya Pushpanathan.
This is certainly very real. I would firstly like to start by thanking the RIBA and the judging panel, as well as the Architectural Association, for giving me this fantastic opportunity. I would also like to thank my tutors, Maria Fedorchenko and Tatiana von Preußen, for constantly pushing me to give more. And to my friends who are here, because without your support, I couldn't have designed this project. And to my parents, who are my pillars of strength. I wouldn't be here without any of you. Thank you.
Congratulations to our Part 1 winners. Now, as mentioned earlier, we're very grateful to the SOM Foundation that, in addition to their sponsorship, recognises the talent of work submitted by awarding the SOM Foundation Travelling Fellowships. And this year, the SOM Foundation judging panel comprised Kent Jackson from SOM, Sarah Ichioka, Director of the Architecture Foundation, and Alan Stanton from Stanton Williams Architects. At Part 1, the judging panel awarded the fellowship to Paddy Alice Benson, and at Part 2, to Rebecca Roberts. Congratulations to the 2012 SOM Foundation Fellows, and particularly to Rebecca Roberts, who graced this same stage at the 2008 President's Medal ceremony as the winner of a commendation for her Part 1 graduation work. The judging panel also awarded the Sargent Awards for excellence in drawing at both Part 1 and Part 2 for students who produced the best architectural drawings. And this year's winners are, at Part 1, and for the second time on stage tonight, Vidya Pushpanathan from the Architectural Association for the project Depository of Forgotten Monuments. And at Part 2, Martin Tang from the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL, for Manual for Eternal Autumn Microclimates, Reimagining Kyoto as the City of 1,000 Autumns. And now for the silver medal, awarded to Best Design Project produced during Part 2 worldwide. The winning project is called Sunblock, and it was submitted by London Metropolitan University as a joint effort by a student-led design team of 14 students. The project intends to capture the projective capacity of architectural design and construction at a time when architecture is at an apparent crossroads and discourse is concerned often with questions of representation and narrative. Sunblock is a proposal for an alternative material practice. Close multidisciplinary collaboration leads to a depersonalisation of student portfolio in the search for invention via fabrication and construction at a large scale. Sunblock is a lightweight, heavily insulated prototypical house that relies on the development of a composite construction system comprised of foam blocks in compression and steel cables in tension. The relatively inexpensive structure is designed to produce more electricity than it consumes over an annual cycle. The judges considered this a detailed study with a solid body of research and were impressed with the team's entrepreneurial attitude that resulted in the completion of a real building. The team of students go by the name of Heliomet and were tutored by Eva Dew, Nathaniel Kolb, Jonas Lundberg, Toby Burgess and Ian Maxwell. David Reeser and Anna Nenasheva are receiving the medal on behalf of all the students involved in the project.
We're extremely honored to be here today, receiving this very prestigious award, and we would like to thank the RIBA for this. Being lost in a live project, we have never even imagined receiving an award of such status, and therefore it makes it even more special for all of us. And we would like to thank judging panel for this recognition.
And also, it goes without saying that we would like to thank everyone who's worked so hard to get the project to the stage it's at. It's actually going to be ongoing and built in China next year, and we're very grateful to the faculty for their continuing support and everyone within the project's office who've been fantastic in lending their help to a student team who are trying to achieve a live project. Also, particular thanks have to go to Metworks and the people there who gave us an enormous amount of their time, and also AKT and BDSP, who were very generous to give the consultancy that allowed us to achieve this system. So again, thank you very much, and we're overjoyed to receive this award. Thank you.
Congratulations to the winners of this year's RIBA President's Medals. We'd now like to introduce and announce the winner of this year's RIBA Donaldson Medal. Now, as Angela mentioned earlier this evening, this medal was established in 1866 in memory of past RIBA President Thomas Leverton Donaldson. Upon his retirement, RIBA Council agreed to set up a fund to award the medal to a graduate from University College London, given Donaldson's role as Professor of Architecture at UCL between 1842 and 1865. The winner of this medal is selected by the Bartlett School of Architecture as the student who graduates top of class at Part 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage the winner of this year's RIBA Donaldson Medal, Brooke Lynn. we'll now move to the announcement of this year's winners of the RIBA President's Awards for Research. And I'd like to invite to the stage the chair of the RIBA's Research and Innovation Group, Professor Murray Fraser from the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the chair of the RIBA's Research and Innovation Group, I'd just like to say a few words about the RIBA's President's Research Awards. 2012 saw the 7th annual cycle of this award scheme, which continues to grow in prestige year on year. These awards exist to acknowledge exceptional contributions to the field of architectural knowledge. The winning submissions offer new insights, have the potential to influence, are intellectually precise, and are clearly communicated. Although they're unable to compete with the long history of the President's Medals, this relatively new programme receives an exceptionally high standard of entries, with a growing number of submissions every year. In 2012, we saw a particularly noticeable increase in the number of entries in the PhD category, up 64% on the previous record. These awards are held in very high regard around the world, and submissions received from international schools of architecture, including the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, and the National University of Singapore. We present awards in 4 categories. Firstly, an award for the best master's thesis completed by a student at an RIBA-validated School of Architecture. Secondly, an award for the best PhD thesis completed by a student at an RIBA-validated School of Architecture. Thirdly, an award for an outstanding piece of research undertaken by an individual or a group situated within an RIBA-validated School of Architecture. And the fourth one is an award for an outstanding piece of research carried out in an architectural practice by an RIBA member or a group of RIBA members. New for 2012 was the first award I mentioned, that for an outstanding master's thesis degree. With an additional category to judge and the growing quantity of entries, we decided to increase the panel of judges to 11 this year. I'd like to take this chance to thank each of these judges. Greg Penor from Penor and Prasad, who chaired the panel. Jerry Adler from the School of Architecture at Kent University. Kenny Ash of Ash Secular Architects, Barnabas Calder from the University of Liverpool, Jonathan Hale from the University of Nottingham, Ruth Morrow from Queen's University, Belfast, Doina Petrescu from the University of Sheffield, Adam Shah from the University of Newcastle, Bob Shield from the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL, Cindy Walters of Walters & Cohen, and Andrew Waugh of Waugh Thistleton Architects. I must also here thank the Building Research Establishment for providing invaluable assistance in assessing the projects with a substantial building technology component. The awards are conducted in the spirit of the RIBA's Charter of 1834, promoting the acquisition of architectural knowledge. It is a principle that is relevant today as it was when the Institute was first founded. It's one of the RIBA's strategic priorities to become the built environment's hub for knowledge and research, and the continuing development of the RIBA's President's Award for Research helps to underpin this ambition. The RIBA sits at the intersection between practice and academia, and we have been delighted to witness a number of award entries this year that have bridged that divide as well. With designers choosing to reflect critically on their own projects and practice, and teams of practitioners collaborating with academic partners, we regard these overlaps as a positive sign of strength of the relationship between architectural design and research. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. I'd now like to call back to the stage our President, Angela Brady, to award the 2012 RIBA President's Awards for Research. And the project which wins the inaugural RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Master's Degree thesis is Mart of the World, an architectural and geographical history of the London Stock Exchange. Coming from the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL, this thesis was described by the judges as a convincing and thorough piece of research which persuasively examines the financial and institutional practices which shaped, and were in turn shaped by, the architecture of the successive homes of the London Stock Exchange. The thesis demonstrates a breadth of knowledge exceptional for an MA student. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Master's Degree Thesis is Amy Thomas. Before presenting the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis, we have one commendation to award in this category. This goes to Edward Dennison of the Bartlett School of Architecture, UCL, for his thesis, Architecture and the Landscape of Modernity in China, up to 1949. But the dissertation which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis is entitled Architectural Design, 1954 to 1972, the contribution of the architectural magazine to the writing of architectural history. An entry from the University of Sheffield, this was considered to be an exceptionally well-written and intriguing PhD. Not simply an historical account of an extraordinary period of post-war architecture and its publication in Architectural Design magazine, but also an ambitious and scholarly exploration of architectural journalism as critical method. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis is Dr. Steve Parnell. A commendation was also awarded in the University Located Research category. And this goes to the posthumously published book Sabionetta Cryptic City by James Madge of the University of Westminster. Here to accept the award is Victoria Watson. The project which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding University-Located Research is entitled Alvar Aalto, Conversations with the Atelier. It comes from the University of Bath, and the judges considered this an extraordinary, tantalising and rigorous study of Alvar Aalto, the mystical character behind the works, and the adventure of designing in this exceptionally self-conscious studio. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding University-Located Research is Dr. Harry Charrington. We now move to the fourth and final category of the RIBA President's Award for Research, which recognises research carried out within architectural practice. Before presenting the award, we have two commendations to give in this category. The first is to Sophie Pelsmakers of Architecture for Change for her environmental design pocketbook. And the second is to Sarah Wigglesworth of Sarah Wigglesworth Architects for Around and About Stock Orchard Street. The project, which wins the RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Practice-Located Research, is entitled A Right to Build. The judges found this publication on self-provided housing to be original and refreshing, opening up and carefully examining ideas and facts we rarely question, the true stuff of architectural research. Alistair Parvin will be accepting the award on behalf of the research team. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this year's RIBA President's Award for Outstanding Practice-Located Research is Architecture 00 in collaboration with the University of Sheffield. We'll now move to the announcement of the Annie Spink Award for Excellence in Architectural Education. And to introduce the winner, I'd like to call to the stage Oliver Richards, Vice President for Education.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure and an honour to introduce this year's winner of the Annie Spink Award for Excellence in Architectural Education. In 1974, Herbert Spink left us with a trust in memory of his wife Annie Spink as an honour for the advancement of architectural education. The biennial award was made for the first time in 2000, and even though this is only the 7th time it has been awarded, it has attracted dozens of extremely strong nominations since it was established. This year, the judging panel was chaired by David Gloucester, and it comprised Mohsen Mostafavi, the Dean of the Graduate School of Design at Harvard University, Neil Lamb, course leader at the Robert Gordon University, Charlotte Reynolds, who won the 2011 RIBA Donaldson Medal, Melkin Gursel Tabanlioglu, partner at Tabanlioglu Architects, and Ivana Wingham, leader of architecture at the University of Brighton. The panel's decision was not an easy one, with a range of exceptional candidates. However, the panel eventually agreed that Professor Nigel Coates would be the most deserving recipient of this prestigious award. Nigel Coates was born in 1949 and studied firstly at the University of Nottingham before continuing his training at the Architectural Association. After graduating, Coates taught Diploma Unit 10 at the AA with his former tutor Bernard Tschumi, and in 1978 he took over the unit. He introduced trans-avant-garde art techniques, which were picked up from New York, to challenge the conventions of architectural representation. In 1982-83, Coates's work became more pointedly political as he and his students depicted proposals for a memorial to Thatcher's Falklands War, and he set up his subversive magazine, NATO, standing for Narrative Architecture Today, where he espoused his approach to architecture and the concept of narrative. Central to his exhibitions and monographs was the idea of narrative, through which architecture could interact with popular culture and experience. With this in mind, he formed Branston Coates Architecture and began working in Tokyo, which eventually led to his 1990 Japan Inter-Design Award for Cities. In 1995, he became Professor of Architecture at the Royal College of Art, where he led his teaching staff to develop their own critical strands and lines of inquiry until 2011. He has combined a successful career in architectural practice and product design with his life in academia, producing interiors and buildings, most notably the Body Zone in the Millennium Dome and the Museum of Popular Music in Sheffield. In 2008, he became art director for SLAMP SPA in Rome, creating products, collections and exhibitions in Italy, France and the UK. His long list of publications includes the Guide to Exeter City 2003, Kaleidoscope 2006, and Narrative Architecture 2012. He is now an RCA Professor Emeritus and was awarded the FX Outstanding Lifetime Contribution to Design Award in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage the recipient of the 2012 RIBA Annie Spink Award for Excellence in Architectural Education, Professor Nigel Coates.
I found a picture of this on the internet and it looked 10 times bigger. But it's so light and gorgeously made. Apparently I can keep this for a little while, but I have to give it back because it's one of those awards that's passed on. And that really is the point, I think. I don't want to say much because you've said it all. Except I perhaps am the oldest student in the room. I completely believe in what students can achieve and the contribution that work by students can contribute to the development of architecture as a form of culture. Often it's the very fact that student projects are not built, that they're built in the mind, is what creates their power and their influence. I think I've had exceptional opportunities. Maybe first of all given by Bernard Tschumi, who was one of the people that wrote a citation for me, and soon became a teacher at the AA under the leadership of Alvin Boyarsky, who really was my godfather as a teacher. One of the tricks he had was never to say that anything was particularly good. It could always have been that little bit better. Zaha was also a teacher there at the same time, and we both had rather kind of competitive spirit in our respective ateliers. And I think that environment was a melting pot, a place of fermentation of ideas, and has turned out all these years later to have been a very, very particular era at the AA. The AA has continued to evolve, as schools must, and some years later, after working in Japan, it was great to go to the RCA, where I taught some incredible people and some incredible teachers. In fact, the smallness, the tininess of the school created an exceptional energy and originality. And year on year, the students that applied to be there became stronger and stronger. Anyway, I don't want to go on. I'm very, very proud to receive this. It's an unexpected honour after 35 years of teaching, and I will continue to be a student forever. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the people who wrote citations for me in my honour, and particularly Will Hunter and Catherine Slesin at the Architectural Review, who put together the proposal. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you.
Shall I go next?
You're on.
We're now coming to the close of this wonderful ceremony celebrating such good projects and teaching. So on behalf of the RIBA, I would like to thank you all once again for coming here tonight and helping us to celebrate the wonderful work that we have just seen. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Callprint and the SOM Foundation, for their continued support of these wonderful awards. I'd also like to thank all of our President's Medals judging panel and all of our RIBA staff who volunteered and really made this a fun event. And in particular, I want to say a big thanks to John Paul Nunes and to Mariki Donaldson. I think that, you know, in this day and age, with students' fees at £9,000 a year, it's going to be very hard for us to keep diversity of our profession when diversity reflects the very community that we all live in. So more than ever before, it is so important for practitioners that are here tonight to support our students in whatever way they can. You can adopt a student. You can support students in lots of ways. Make sure that they get paid work experience, most important. And they can actually teach you an awful lot of skills, as you will see in the exhibition upstairs. Beautiful drawings and computer renderings. And the students of today really have got so much value. And I think they're undervalued by a lot of people. So I challenge each of the practitioners here, please do adopt a student and support them in any way that you can. So finally, I would just like to say that I hope you've enjoyed tonight's ceremony, and we shall continue to celebrate at our reception upstairs in the Florence Hall on the first floor. And before you leave, please do look at the exhibition. You can see dozens of projects, and each one is worth its weight in gold. So it really remains to me just to say, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks to everybody, and thanks also to the RIBA Journal. Thank you very much.